Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today's September 27th, getting a little bit of a late start here today. Got up really early and went out to sunrise there up Mount Rainier. Pretty impressive lenticular cloud show. The sunrise came up, was just glorious. I had to share this picture with you guys. But anyway, had fun out there today, and let's get on to the weather. So looking at the infrared satellite imagery, had that impressive lenticular cloud show out there. Frontal system moving into British Columbia. It's pretty much stationary right now. We're not expecting this to drop down across Washington or Oregon. However, this is eventually going to pivot. This energy out here across the Pacific Ocean eventually going to pivot towards the coastline as we go over the next couple of days. And then we've got a stronger storm possibly developing as we go through the mid portion of next week. We're going to talk about that in some detail here in a moment as well. So as you can see, we've got a lot of energy being injected into the jet stream here. Some tropical moisture. You can actually see this one still spinning out there. Looks like a typhoon moving back up into the jet stream across the Aleutian Islands. And this will in turn make its way towards the Pacific Northwest. So looking at that, you can see that's where that typhoon is right there. And then all this moisture, all this energy here, this big heat transfer process occurring. And if I put that into motion, watch this energy and what it does. It races across Pacific Ocean, rounds the base of this trough in place across the Gulf of Alaska, and spins up this fairly dynamic system off our coastline there. And you can see it spinning and churning in our offshore waters, spreading precipitation back across the region. Some interesting weather could be occurring with that system. As you can see, it spins up towards Vancouver Island right there. We're not looking at a huge windstorm because it is going to mature out over the open waters, and the gradients don't favor a big windstorm right now. But we will be watching it here because it could bring showers and thunderstorms across the region, and it will definitely bring a pattern change with it. So in turn, looking at the jet stream at about 39,000 feet up in the atmosphere, about 200 millibars. There's the Pacific Northwest to the right, Japan to the left. And again, this jet stream comes ripping across the Pacific Ocean, and right there as we go through next week, you can see this trough really dug out in our offshore waters, and that is going to be bringing a huge pattern change. So definitely enjoy these nice days while you can in the meantime. Now, one more look here at the visible satellite imagery. Again, this frontal system is bringing precipitation up into British Columbia, but again, a lot of sunshine across the region. Get out there and enjoy these days. I mean, just absolutely glorious temperatures here in the low 70s with low relative humidity. I mean, you can't draw up the weather much better. I guess you could get rid of the smoke, but we're going to be working on that here as we go through next week. That upper level low is really going to help out with that. And if you guys want to help support the channel, go to the Pacific Northwest Weather Watch merch page down below. I got a whole bunch of different designs and whatnot down there. You can just get the Pacific Northwest Weather Watch one. You get stickers and all kinds of stuff here. But the moisture wicking t-shirts are really great. I buy those, and I buy the men's premium hoodie. The women's premium hoodie is really good as well. My wife has bought one of those also, so check those out. And of course, not too late to get your weather station going. Now, click on the link down below for one of those, by the way. Now, looking at the European model here. So there's Pacific Northwest, and you can see this trough get dug out over our coastline. And then we're going to get that initial frontal system here, but then we get the more dynamic energy moving towards our coastal area. And you can see this is going to fully mature and then start to weaken here off our coastal waters. You need this thing to really fly through the region at a quicker pace, bringing that gradient inland if you want any kind of a windstorm action with that. But this will stir up some waves. It will bring some thunderstorms here, and it will bring multiple rounds of precipitation across the Pacific Northwest with some chilly air aloft. Then who knows what's going to happen after that? Maybe another frontal system will come down as this upper level low dives right down across the region as we go through early October. Now, looking at the European, so again, you can see the precipitation up into British Columbia there, but we have to wait here for Southwest BC, for example, Seattle, Portland, for the next shot of rain as we go on into the day on Monday. But it's taking its sweet time, and that frontal system is not too strong, but it does bring some meaningful precipitation. However, as I'm clicking through here, you see this 981 millibar low, this fairly robust system actually drops down to 979 there for a little bit, and this is spinning on our coastal waters. And you can see again multiple rounds of precipitation with this as it spins through all the way on and through next week. Then maybe another upper level trough will follow that one before maybe another pattern change. Who knows? We'll worry about that later. Looking at the European artificial intelligence on the left versus the GFS on the right. Same map as what we just looked at. Pretty good model agreement with that frontal system moving through at some point on the day Monday, and then that strong storm developing. I mean, both models have this, into the lower 970 region here. Very powerful storm, but it is going to stay offshore, and then it weakens dramatically. But it will be bringing multiple rounds of thunderstorms, and we could even get some some very unstable conditions with this as well. I shouldn't say very unstable. I'm a storm chaser. I'm used to the tornado alley out there. But for the Pacific Northwest, you could bring some convective available potential energy up and across the region. You could even get some water spouts here, and I wouldn't be surprised if you bring a low this strong towards the coastal areas. You could be bringing some of these coastal tornadoes here as well. They're usually weak and brief, but it's just kind of worth noting that with some of these stronger systems that do kind of decay in our offshore waters there, that is what tends to happen. Now, taking a look here at the National Blend of Models, this is for today, and you can see, again, just glorious temperatures out there, pretty warm there for Medford. Some warm conditions east of the mountains as well. Then we go through Sunday, but by Monday, the clouds start to arrive here, and you can see things cool down across much of the region. There's Tuesday as well, and then we get this troughing around. Then, yeah, we're definitely going to bring these temperatures down a couple of notches as we go through the upcoming week, and who knows when those are ever going to bounce back. We'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll get another warm period at some point through beginning of October, the first half of October, but no promises on that just yet. And the ensemble mean precipitation amounts, again, you can kind of see as we go through Monday morning, a lot of precipitation across Vancouver Island up into western BC, but it takes its sweet time getting in towards Seattle and Portland, some of the Willamette Valley. Once it does, as we go through the day Monday, it brings some modest amounts across the Cascades. But again, that next stronger storm is going to be off our coastal waters, and you can see it spreading multiple rounds of precipitation here, really favoring a lot of places west of the higher terrain, the Cascades here across Washington, Oregon. Look at some of the coastal areas getting between 2 to 3 inches. Vancouver Island, western BC, by the time you get towards next weekend, you're talking about 3, 4, or 5, maybe even a little bit more precipitation there for some of the higher terrain. Olympic Mountains getting targeted fairly nicely there as well. Maybe we can put that Bear Gulch fire, 20,000 acre fire on the Olympic Peninsula. Are you kidding me? That is just kind of ridiculous, and we need to put that thing to rest. Hopefully this upper level low does come here and it sits off our coastline and it spreads multiple rounds of precipitation. We can start to put out some of these fires that have been plaguing us with this smoke. Now, looking at 10-meter wind speeds here, actually, I'm going to go ahead and do the 100-meter wind speeds, and we're going to take a look as these storms approach. So there's the low there across the Gulf of Alaska. And this is the next frontal system as we go through Monday. You can see maybe some blustery conditions out there. We're not looking at any kind of big windstorm by any stretch of the imagination. And then you see the next strong low developing here. This could bring more of a bluster to some of the coastal regions, 40, 50 miles per hour for some locations. Kind of breezy across some of northwest Washington up through the Strait of Georgia. You can see how these turn a bit southeasterly as you move across northwest Washington towards western BC. But you'll also notice this storm is going to be weakening as it approaches. You can see no big winds for Seattle scheduled. You could get some stronger winds again across northwest Washington, some of the coastal areas. But we'll be watching that very closely here over the next few days as that low fills and sits there and spins off our coastline. Now, taking a look here for Quilly, again, we got some pretty good ensemble agreement that we will be getting precipitation with these frontal systems coming up here. Still some disagreement, which is pretty typical. This is Hoquiam as well, not as much as Quileute there. But if we go towards Seattle, you can kind of see this hit and miss nature with that upper level low kind of spreading showers for a few days as we go on into the initial frontal system on Monday, and then kind of repeated rounds or at least chances of precipitation as we go through the upcoming week and maybe towards the weekend. Long Beach up on Vancouver Island, big precipitation amounts rolling in here. You can see as we go through Sunday on in through Monday there. And then again, another couple rounds, probably at least as we go through next week with that strong low off the coastline filling there. And Vancouver International Airport, you go inland, you get a little bit less here, but we do have multiple rounds of precipitation possible. Same thing for Portland there. Also, Tillamook on the Oregon coast, some precipitation likely incoming as well. And I like to show the temperatures aloft. This is just raw temperature data at 700 millibars on the European model, or about 10,000 feet, and you can clearly see the colder air arriving. This is that initial frontal system as we go through the day Monday, but then that strong storm out there, you can see it's bringing cold air aloft across the area, pivots across the region, and then maybe even a chillier upper level low sliding across after that. We'll see if there's anything to that. It's probably going to change multiple times over the next few days. And if we look at Mount Baker, check it out. I teased this one out, and you can see it does show some snowfall for the higher terrain. I mean, you're looking at up over 4,000 feet out there, but just kind of a sign of the change of seasons likely coming up here as we go on in through the month of October. Quilly, just one more last look here at the wind. You can see some higher gusts in here, but we don't have good model agreement on just how strong any of these systems are going to be for some of the coastal areas. But we will be paying attention to that pretty close. This is Hoquiam as well. Look at that one ensemble member at 64, but you can see the mean right there in the mid 30s. So don't get caught up with any of those individual ensemble members just yet. Whidbey Island, it could get a little bit breezy here again, but we'll get better data on that over the next couple of days. Now, looking at the West Coast there, you got some mixed bag there, but again, at least we're not above average. I know a lot of the mossbacks are going to like that as we start to turn back towards more of a rainy pattern as we go through next week, and you can kind of see that above normal there across Pacific Northwest, 8 to 14 day. Who knows? Take that with a grain of salt right now. Check out the Patreon page if you like, if you want to throw some of your hard-earned money towards the channel and help support the channel. Patreon's probably the best way to do it. Between 88 and 90% of what you give goes to the creator. So again, there's that shot from Mount Rainier. I did a 3,100 picture time lapse every 2 seconds, and I have a feeling it's going to be pretty spectacular. Yeah, so fun stuff out there. I was so far close to the mountain that there was another very impressive lenticular cloud that was right on top of us, just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I tried to time lapse it a little bit, but I was kind of in awe of the colors of the mountain. So that's what most of my time lapse there was for today. But yeah, anyway, I'll end my rambling here. We'll do this all again tomorrow. We'll try to nail down some of those details. Looks like we have some more fall-like weather coming, some fun stuff upcoming. And yeah, so hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you guys later.